This is The Drive with Dale Lolley and Matt Williamson on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. SNR, Steelers Nation Radio.
And welcome to The Drive. I am Dale Lolley here with Matt Williamson. And, well, again, things are happening across the NFL right now, including some Steeler news.
Yeah, there's a little bit of Steeler news. And things are happening. I bet something happens in the 2 hours we're on the air here.
Without a doubt.
Right.
Without something
there's
big.
always something little or trade rumors, blah, 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 all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah, for the Steelers today, they adjusted the contract of linebacker Cole Holcomb. And when you say adjusted is a key word there.
Adjusted is big here, yes.
Not a restructure.
Mm-hmm.
Not renegotiated. They basically went to Cole Holcomb and said, hey, you're on the books right now for $7.3 million.
Yeah, it was between 7 and 8, yeah.
We're not going to pay you you can't count $7.3 million against our cap and stay on our roster.
Right. We're going to cut you at that price. Yeah.
Would you like to stay here in Pittsburgh? And Cole Holcomb obviously said, yes, I would.
I would be very interested.
I would be very interested in that.
What can you, baby?
And exactly. He said, I don't want to go out into free agency having put nothing on tape in the last 20 months. And they said, well, we can pay you this. And he said, okay.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. And the savings, as is my understanding, is about $5 million. So Cole Holcomb.
So as opposed to opening up 7 point whatever in cap space, they open up about 5, but you keep a good linebacker.
Right. And he would have had a $1.64 million cap hit. So they would have saved $5 million if they just released him.
Oh, okay.
The savings that they have is $5 million
for this year's cap, right? Yeah.
This is not. You have to have a little bit of three-dimensional thinking here. Not look at this two-dimensionally and say, well, if they do this, that means they must be, into having Cole Holcomb on. This guarantees Cole Holcomb nothing.
No, right. If he comes to camp and looks terrible, he might not make the team.
He might not make the team, and they lose. It counts $1.6 million against their cap.
But
it's the same as if they had released him, only they get to keep the player, and he gets to stay here and try out.
Yeah. And who knows what he is as a player at this point? Like you said,
they don't know.
20
he doesn't
months
know.
or whatever. But I think that I think it's a great move. I mean, as opposed to, I think he's going to be an NFL player this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's that catastrophic of an injury, or he's at the age where he's in trouble for his livelihood. I think he's got a great chance to make the team, and at that price, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I've been asked a bunch. I'm sure you have too. Well, I really wanted them to bring back Landon Roberts.
This does nothing to affect that.
I don't think it matters at all.
You could have all 4 of them. Yeah, you can re-sign a Landon Roberts tomorrow. That has no effect on the Cole Holcomb situation at all. And all this does is guarantee. Let's say you get into OTA sessions, and God forbid Peyton Wilson or Patrick Queen has a knee injury.
Sure.
Or something that's going to make them miss a season. Well, now you're covered.
Yeah.
You don't have to scramble to go find somebody else to fill that role. You know what Cole Holcomb can do when he's healthy.
No, I think he's a good player, and I didn't want to of the guys that were pretty obvious cap cuts. I'm like, it'd been nice to
see what he has.
Right.
See what he
I
has,
like what he did when he was here.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's Hammer Lambert, but he's a good player. You know.
So you got to keep a good player at a discounted price, and Cole Holcomb understood. Look, man, I don't want to go out and hit free agency right now.
No.
Nobody's seen me play football in almost 2 years.
But he is up after this year then, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so make the team, even if you're just a special team or part-time player or whatever, at least you have tape out there.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
You've got
a ton
something.
of preseason tape.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there'll be a ton of preseason.
And to that point, they could get to the end of training camp and say, hey, Cole, we need this guy for special teams. Maybe they need, Mark Robinson's probably going to make the roster of you because of special teams.
Yeah.
Would you be open? We're gonna try to trade you.
I even thought that when they drafted Peyton Wilson last year. At that point, the Holcomb injury was very vague. It's like, is he gonna be back? Is he gonna be back? I'm like, well, if he's back and gives me some good preseason tape, you might get a 5th-round pick out of him or a 6th-round pick out of him at his age. And linebackers don't grow on trees, that can play every down. So maybe
he comes back and shows he can play. That's a good thing.
Yeah. Or maybe they draft a linebacker in the 7th round that, wow, this guy's really good too, and Roberts is in the mix or whatever. But it's great. I mean, it's a bonus prize. Yeah. I didn't see that coming.
If you're not a starter, you are eminently replaceable.
Sure.
By someone who is younger and cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he just got cheaper.
He's got cheaper, right.
So therefore, you don't need to cut him.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a win-win situation for both the player and the team.
Yep. I mean, there's a lot of these that are easy cap cuts, but to do it this way with what he brings to the table as a depth piece, I would assume, but could start. I mean, that'd be fine.
If something happened, you need him, you got him.
Yep. So I like this move a lot. What I don't remember, I'm sure he has a special teams background, but I don't remember how good he is or bad he is on team.
He didn't play any special teams for the Steelers, obviously, but in his days in Washington, I think he was a 5th-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
He had to play teams.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure early in his career, before he became a starter, he has a special teams background.
Yeah. And, at this point in his career, he may look at it and go, I got to play teams.
Yeah. I urge people, because I wasn't even aware of this, but when the Steelers signed him, went back and did more research on him. I mean, I knew who he was, of course. Go look at his testing stuff coming out of college, out of UNC. It's extreme, really strong. I mean, I don't know if he still has that in him post-injury, but his numbers were great. In
some instances, when you have a catastrophic injury like that, you train so hard to get back, you actually get a little faster.
Sure.
Because you've strengthened all those leg muscles and things that you
might be doing less taking on blocks and things like that in those 20 months or whatever, but you are strengthening.
You're working on your
muscles
explosiveness because you got to get that. You got to regain that, and you may not have had time to do that as much when you were training for a season.
Sure. And you're trying to get to week to week.
It's like when pitchers tear their PCL or their UCL, I should say, and they come back and all of a sudden they're throwing harder than they did pre-injury.
Does that happen from time to time?
It happens a lot.
Does it really?
This guy's 5 miles an hour faster than he was pre-injury. Wow. Like, how did that happen? Well, he's actually worked on strengthening that area of his body.
Not to mention, if you have a bad knee injury or something like that too, there's nothing to prohibit you from benching like crazy or doing upper body stuff. Because you don't have the game day wear and tear and the prep stuff.
Tell you for a fact, he was working out like a maniac from the time he got cleared. Really, last offseason, around this time, he was working out constantly.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
To the point where, they activated his window to return to practice late in the season. And, people say, well, why didn't they put him on the active roster? They didn't. Who are you going to cut?
You got to move somebody, right?
Yeah.
But he could have been available, huh?
If they would have had an injury, which is what Omar Khan said, look, hey, if we would have had an injury, said the same thing about Roman Wilson. If we would have had an injury, these guys were ready to come back and play.
Mm-hmm.
They just didn't get the opportunity because who are you cutting?
Right. And you only played one playoff game. If you'd have went deep in the playoffs and needed them, maybe
there's a possibility that would have changed that.
So we're not worried about his health at all at this point. Then, right?
No, he's medically cleared.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have kept him around if he weren't. He has to pass a physical.
Sure.
Coming out of the season, and obviously he passed a physical.
Mm-hmm. And they like him as a football player, which I do as well. So no, I think it's a really good move.
But it does nothing to affect the Landon Roberts situation.
But it is insurance. I mean, you don't know that Roberts is going to resign. Right. If he gets a big offer elsewhere or whatever, and he's gone, okay,
you're covered.
I don't think you have a linebacker need all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the interesting thing about this. If you think about it, this will be the first offseason since 2017 that the Steelers haven't gone into the offseason needing something at inside linebacker.
Oh, I know. It's every year. And
John Bostic, Morgan Burnett, Devin Bush, Marcus Allen, Avery Williamson, Robert Spillane, Joe Schobert, Miles Jack. Among others. They played Marcus Allen was in there. There were a lot of guys that they rolled through that position trying to find the answer.
Or even 2 years ago when they were just pulling dudes off the street.
Right.
When it got bad.
Yeah.
And then Queens, Bush is their biggest investment since Shazier. But
without a doubt,
Queen is a big one, though, for them to go.
And you not only got Queen, but you also went out and got Wilson.
Yeah, the same year.
Instead of just...
And you had Roberts.
They tried drafting. They tried free agency.
Mm-hmm.
Well, last year they did both.
Yeah,
we're it finally worked.
Done with this nonsense. Yeah.
And now you're probably set there for at least the next 5 years.
Sure seems that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Queen's still incredibly young.
Yeah, he's 25 years old.
Right. He's not under contract for 5 years, but you're in good shape for a while.
Re-sign him, You're, and that, again, that's just something that...
And I expect Wilson and Queen to be better this year than last year. Without question.
Yeah,
Wilson.
It seems odd to not have to go into the draft and look at a bunch of off-the-ball linebackers.
It's amazing. I know so little about that position group compared to the others, too. I mean, I haven't paid much attention. I know, like, the top 5 guys and a handful of other names, but I don't know that position.
That's like tight end position. We were doing our triple take stuff again, and I was writing up my tight ends today, and I had to go and look a bunch of film of guys. Like,
okay,
all right, I gotta catch up on this because do I think the Steelers are going to draft a tight end? Probably not.
Probably not, but it is a good group.
It's a good group.
I like that group. I mean, the linebacker group, I could take or leave. I don't really care. I don't know the safeties particularly well either.
Yeah.
I mean, but they could end up with one.
Yeah, just, I mean, the areas of need are what you kind of focus on.
Mm-hmm. But no, what we kind of brushed over is they made another $5 million in cap space, though, too.
Right.
I mean,
by doing nothing.
By doing nothing and keeping the player.
Yeah.
It's not like, I mean, now we got to find a 4th linebacker. Well, you don't.
You don't. Yeah, you're good.
Mm-hmm.
You're set. So, yeah, it's a nice spot to be in. And, well,
things are starting to happen.
That amount of cap space moved them from having the 7th most amount of cap space in the NFL to 6.
Is it? Okay.
So, and, you've got other teams, Cleveland restructures
Watson
again.
Yeah.
Just to get the net 0.
Oh, just to be able to
That's
play.
just to be able to say, okay, we don't need to do anything it doesn't give them any maneuverability to sign anyone.
No.
That just gets them to 0.
I know the Saints did a couple things too, but I mean, they're just trying to get to 0 too. I mean, there's talk. Seattle's been really busy. Lockett amongst 3 or 4 other guys that are all got
Bosa got cut by the Chargers.
Right. No, there's gonna be a lot more of that kind of stuff going on.
If you look
Steelers
at it,
have some cuts they could still make too to make more.
If you had to do more, you can do more. But they're in really great cap shape. And when you look at the other teams in the division, they're not.
They're not. The Bengals have a lot of space, but they need like 8 starters. And they're going to cut a bunch of defensive players too.
So right now, I think the Bengals have like $52 million.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't count the T. Higgins franchise tag.
Right.
That doesn't the franchise tag doesn't kick in until the first day of the new league year.
Right. So
of that 52 that they have, 27 is going to go right out. Yeah. 27 goes out the window, and you have to keep that space available because if he decides to come in, you don't have the space available, and he comes in and decides I'm going to sign the
you have to leave it sitting there. I mean,
It's really dead money at this point.
And the other news with them is Hendrickson asked for a trade. They said go ahead and pursue it, which I think he will get traded. I kind of thought that all along. They have a lot of defensive cuts coming, but they just. That just open. I mean, you cut a linebacker, you need a linebacker.
Now all of a sudden,
it's not like they got stuff waiting in the wings. Now they need more stuff.
Like 9 new starters.
Exactly.
So
when you cut the guard, well, now you need a guard.
Yeah. When you look at this offseason, the Ravens have $12 million in cap space. They're not adding anybody of note in free agency.
They're going to try to do everything possible, just like keep a Stanley or somebody like that. I mean,
that's the best that they can do.
There's a lot of talk of them trading Andrews. That opens up like $8 million.
The Browns obviously aren't doing anything.
No.
And the Bengals,
I can't believe it. I mean, I guess I can believe, but they restructured Watson again. What's his cap number?
He counts $83 million next year.
Yeah.
$59 million in 2026.
Is that more? I mean, that's the newest numbers.
These, I believe, are the newest numbers. Yeah.
I think
so it's $59 million next season.
Mm-hmm.
The final year of his contract.
Yeah.
Then it's another. What did I say? $38 million the year after that, and then $18 million.
I think it's 80 something next year.
It's 80 next year.
Yeah.
59 the year after that.
Okay.
18 in 2028, and another $7 million in 2029.
Those last two, considering where the cap will probably be, I could live with. But 80 next year, but you know what they're going to end up doing. I don't think he's going to throw another pass for the Browns.
They're going to end up kicking the can down the road again next year.
I do the same thing one year.
And increase those numbers in the years and just clear dead money for a player who hasn't. He threw his last pass in the 2024 season, and they're going to be paying for him until 2029.
Yeah,
that's bad business.
It's horrendous. I mean, again, an $80 million cap hit next year. It's horrific.
59 2 years from now.
And trading Garrett.
His contract is up.
Right. They could have been out of it by now.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have been
they just ate their vegetables.
It was like, man, we made a huge mistake. Let's just live with it. Keep some, start drafting dudes, go from here. But no, they're going to keep kicking it down the road.
They just needed to eat their vegetables. $59 million next year would have got, that's 7 players that you could have signed.
Yeah.
at least
quality
starters,
right.
Quality players.
Right. Starting safety, starting linebacker, et cetera, et cetera.
For a team that needs everything?
Yeah, I still don't understand their self-awareness. We talked about this yesterday. Myles Garrett asking for a trade is a favor. If you to look at it that way, it's like, okay, we can finally start over. They actually do have the most draft capital of any team in the league.
Great, they need
right
it.
now because they
got no middle class.
Nothing for 3 years.
Yeah.
Nothing in the draft. I mean, you can't live that way.
We had Tony Grossi on.
Even if Watson was great, it'd be hard to live that way.
Yeah. We had Tony Grossi on at the Combine, and he said, they've just punted basically for 3 straight years on the first and second rounds. And even the first year, they didn't have a third-round pick.
Yeah, a third-round pick. I mean, their average pick during that time is like into the 60s overall.
Which is just, it's not a good way to do business. You have no cheap labor at all on that roster.
No, and it's aging quickly, too. The Conklins and those type of dudes.
So even though they have 11 picks, they're not 11 premium picks.
Well, they do have number 2. I mean, they've earned early
but they don't have
right.
11 of them.
Oh, right. Yeah,
they've got 2, and then they've got 30.
At least they're picking early in every round because they stunk.
But
they have like a Bills pick.
All the other picks that they picked up along the way, the Bills pick's not early. They've got some picks, but a lot of them are day 3 picks.
Yeah,
that's not going to help you.
This has to be, and to me, I mean, it's a perfect time to say, okay, goodbye to Batonio, who's coming back. Don't kick the can down with Watson. Trade Garrett.
Eat your vegetables. Get it out of the way.
Let's draft like crazy for 2 or 3 seasons and see what we can find.
You're going to stink.
Yeah. And if they take Sanders, I think that's
you're going to really stink.
Insane.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not able to elevate everyone like that.
No, absolutely not. But
crazy to me.
Yeah. So the Steelers are in great cap shape right now.
Yeah.
Better than any other team in the division.
Oh, without question.
And with
fewer needs than like the Bengals too. I mean, the Bengals have the second most space. They need a lot right now.
Yeah.
I mean, especially on defense.
And if Ronnie Stanley and Patrick McCarry leave the Ravens, who are they signing that's comparable to either of those guys?
No, right. Maybe you can find, I'd say somebody like a McCarry. But he's pretty important.
It's the whole reason the Bears made the moves that they did.
Because there's no guards out.
Because there's no guards that are like, oh, we can plug this guy in. No.
Right.
Like Alex Kappa got scooped up right away.
Scooped up immediately because there's nothing else, and he's not very good.
Right.
Yeah, right.
He got $5.5 million. Like
Stanley's going to make a fortune.
Stanley's going to get paid.
So, like, if I'm the Patriots, I almost can't spend all the money I have. There's not enough good players. Right. I mean, you
have to spend to a level.
You have to spend to a level. I don't have enough good guys on my team to give it to, just invest in my own. I don't mind overspending on Stanley or
I can
a
give
receiver.
him $5 million more than the Ravens were going to offer him.
And
at this point in his career,
right.
Like you're 31, 32 years old, you're like, this is my last chance to cash in.
Sure. I mean,
why wouldn't you?
The last time he cashed in, he got hurt the next day.
Yeah, right.
I mean, like this is a not for long situation.
Quite literally,
he knows exactly the next day. Yeah.
So yeah,
I don't know that he's going to be back.
And
obviously, I think they would have liked to franchise him. They just don't have that kind of space.
Yeah, they can't do it. Space. That's $25 million.
Yeah, right.
Like They can't do that.
And then they got Linderbaum and
that's
safety coming up too. Right.
Yeah. So the Steelers are in
50-year option stuff's right on the corner.
They're in great shape in terms of the cap stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're going to probably improve this offseason the most of any team in the AFC North.
I would think. I mean, draft aside, they definitely will.
I mean, the Bengals are going to improve defensively.
They know where to go but up.
Yeah.
Right. But they have so many resources. I mean, they're not going to be able to go get 6 new starters on defense.
Right.
I mean,
or they'll get 6 starters.
Well, right.
But some of them might be placeholders.
Yeah, they won't be $8 million apiece, star. I mean, quality starters. Right.
So they
need some of their young guys to step up.
It's going to be interesting, and you could see that gap closing even more between the Steelers and the Ravens.
I could definitely see that. And I wonder, are there, again, the Steelers have more levers they could pull to even create more cap space.
Right.
But I got to think, like we were talking yesterday and with Labs, they have to be heading deep into conversations with a quarterback right now, too.
Yeah.
That's going to be a significant cap hit,
Well, I mean, depending on how the contract is structured, it's not
going to be $50 million in cap.
No, it's not going to count anything close to that.
You're going to have a ton of spending power after you sign Fields or Wilson.
Right.
No doubt.
Yeah. So
I would think that's their next move.
I'm not worried about that part of it.
No, you knew that all along.
Yeah.
They can go get a lot of stuff in free agency. Again, a week from now, they may look really different.
Much so.
Yeah.
Much so. Let's get to a break. He is the Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. We will be back with more right after this. And welcome back. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And Matt, free agency set to hit the NFL when we come back here on Monday. It'll start the
there'll be lots going
legal
on.
tampering period.
There's be a lot going on.
The legal tampering period to me, I can remember back in '96. Leon Searcy was hitting free agency for the Steelers.
Yeah, ended up with Jacksonville.
Within 60 seconds of free agency opening.
4:00, not even 4:01.
It was midnight
or whatever it was. Okay.
I remember it was midnight because I was still at the newspaper and I was in the office that night, and free agency hit. It was early in the,
This stuff happened pretty often.
Within 60 seconds, Leon Searcy had agreed to a 5-year, $17 million contract, which at the time was a ridiculous amount of money.
Oh, yeah, he was like the highest paid tackle in the league.
Yeah.
Right, he was a really good player.
But they just agreed to it.
We're able to whip it up that quick. Yep.
That quick.
Yep.
Yeah, 60 seconds.
So basically what they're telling us with legal tampering is we know tampering's going to happen, so we're going to have this period. Well, what's to stop people from doing it before the legal tampering? If you're going to tamper when it's on Tuesday, why not tamper on Sunday?
Created a little bit of a process.
Yeah, I get it. But I bet there was a conversation in Indy.
You happen to run into some, or you call about you have 3 clients on a team. Your 4th client is going to be a free agent. Well, you call to talk about the other guys, and stuff happens.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm just using the Steelers as an example, but whoever Holcomb's agent was probably represents other people.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
that's just how that works.
Yeah.
Let's take a look here at some guys.
I don't know if everyone listening even knows who's up around the league.
I've got the Pro Football Focus top 150 here.
Okay.
They've expanded their list. They've updated this March 3rd, I should say. So it doesn't include Joey Bosa, for example, right now.
Oh, okay. The guys that are just went on it, right?
And no, the Steelers will not be interested in Joey Bosa.
No. I think he signs a 1-year prove-it deal with that injury history.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe with San Francisco, but
wherever.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have the money to do it, but
no, I don't think it'll be that expensive just because he's so injured.
Yeah. T. Higgins and Trey Smith are both still on here because technically they're both still available.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to give up a couple of first-round draft picks to get them, not going to happen. Number 3 on our list.
Our boy Justin just broke some news for us.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Don't love it. Christian Kirk being traded to the Texans.
That's why I would have been proactive with that.
I guess he wasn't officially cut yet.
That's why I would have been
Justin Miller.
Well, see, that's what the news leaks out that the guy is going to be. They don't cut the cut doesn't happen right away.
Exactly.
They intend to cut him.
Yeah, and then they have to. Yeah.
A team calls up and says, "Hey,
how about a 7th-round pick?
How about whatever the pick would be?" Which is what I would have done.
You said the exact same thing yesterday. We've said it for weeks.
I would have given up
a
draft
pick.
pick.
7 for that contract. Yeah. If you remember when he signed that deal with Jacksonville, people were losing their mind. Like, you're getting that kind of money for Christian Kirk. And it did seem a little high at the time, but then you look at 6 months later, it's like not that bad.
Kind of a bargain.
Yeah.
He's $16.5 million this year.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they're trading him in division just to get something out of him.
Yeah, I would have.
Yeah, I would have been on top of that.
I would have done it. $16.5 million I would have done it.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, Javon Holland. I don't know. The Steelers aren't going to be interested there. Chris Godwin.
I don't think he's going to leave Tampa when it's all said and done. And if he does, it's going to be that Stanley conversation where a team like the Patriots gives him a ungodwin number.
$7 million a year.
Yeah.
I don't see the Steelers
I think
fishing
that's a
in
little
that
pie in the
pond.
sky. Yeah. He had a great year before his injury, though, too. I guess his ankle wasn't just a basic ankle injury, though, either.
He completely dislocated. When you dislocate your ankle like that or a knee or whatever, you probably tore some ligaments, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it was more than just your run-of-the-mill.
At the very least, you've stretched them beyond what they should be stretched.
Yeah.
And then it takes time for it to kind of...
I mean, if Tampa resigns him, they're obviously not worried about that at all. But
Khalil Mack, no.
Won't be a Steeler. Edge guys aren't. Mack will get a decent buck, though.
Yeah.
1 or 2 year deal.
DJ Reed, I would have some interest in.
Really good scheme fit. He's the right age. I don't know if he'll be the highest paid corner or not, but he's going to be real close. I mean, at the top of the list. But as we go through this, it's pretty easy to see the corner is about the deepest position in free agency of guys you would like.
That's why you want to maybe fish in this pond.
Just grab one of them now, you know? And he'd be maybe the top of my list. I mean, right near the top of the list.
They have Amari Cooper, number 7 on their list.
I went back and watched him more and did more homework in the last 24 hours or so. He might be done. I mean, I kind of blamed his injury and getting on the moving tracks of Buffalo, but I didn't like what I saw last blush. He's had a good career, but man,
he's still only 30 though.
I know. But
I'd rather go that route than DeAndre Hopkins or something like that.
Agreed. But last year was not great for Cooper.
He is 2 years removed from having like 1,200 yards.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't have fallen off.
Oh, he's had a great career. Yeah.
He hadn't fallen off the cliff that far.
I don't know. I mean,
what I wonder is how much of it. Well, he didn't look fast.
Mm-hmm.
Is he thinking too much out there because he doesn't know the offense?
I don't know. He just wasn't separating, and he had a hard time getting playing time in Buffalo.
Ronnie Stanley, we talked about him.
He's going to get paid huge.
He's going to get paid.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold, going to get paid. People thinking that the Steelers should sign Sam Darnold for $30 million a year. That ain't happening.
No, it'll be more than that.
It's going to be way more than that.
I think he's a Raider or a Titan. Maybe a Giant.
Josh Sweat. No.
Okay, they're not going to be an edge.
Would you kick the tires on Stephon Diggs?
Yeah, because Adams aside, that's where I was starting this project, is digging into these older receivers that everyone thinks are done. You know, the Keenan Allens and the Hopkins and Cooper and Diggs. Adams is better than all of them. Diggs is the next best to me. I mean, I think he's still a good football player, and I think the Texans were quite happy with him when he got hurt.
Yeah. I mean, he was having an impact.
Yeah.
And he's different from George Pickens.
Oh, he's a route runner. He's a technician. He's had some personality stuff too, you know, but a lot of people in this position do.
Hassan Reddick, no. Charvarius Ward, I would be interested in Charvarius Ward.
Yeah. He's going to be another expensive quality starting corner, but all these corners I'd be interested in.
Yeah. Rasul Douglas, no.
Him, not as much.
No.
He's a little older, a little stiffer. I think they want to bring him back too.
Yeah, that's one I wouldn't be in on. Odighizuwa is still on here for some reason.
Yeah,
he's re-signed.
He's done.
Cameron Bynum, the safety with the Vikings, no.
Mm-mm.
Milton Williams. I've gotten a lot of Milton Williams questions.
And I can see why a lot of people would. I mean, they just won the Super Bowl. He's a rapidly ascending player. He was drafted as a project, great tester, et cetera, who's coming into his own. I just think you'd rather go shopping on the draft waters with him.
Here's the thing with Milton Williams. So yesterday we traded up in our draft to go get
Nolan.
Milton Williams is the same exact size as Walter Nolan.
Yeah.
When we made our trade up, people just crushed us for making the trade up to go get Milton or get Walter Nolan. He's not big enough to play 3-4 end.
He is.
Yeah, he is. He's
and they don't need him to be 6'5" anymore.
Yeah, he can't play the nose. Well, no kidding.
No,
they're not going to ask him to play the nose. But if you like Milton Williams, why wouldn't you like Walter Nolan?
Mm-hmm. I mean, Williams is better at this point.
But he's also older.
He's older and he's expensive.
He's going to be a lot more. He's 26 years old, and he's going to be a lot more expensive.
I mean, if you were to get involved with a Milton Williams, I think you immediately move on from Ogunjobi, and you go fishing for a nose in the draft, which isn't terrible. I mean, I would understand that route. You have the money to do it, but I mean, it's such a good D-tackle draft.
Yeah. Byron Murphy at 18.
He's another one. Yeah.
I'd be very interested.
He's top of my corner.
Really the youngest of that group.
Yeah.
Outside of the kid from Samuel
Jr. Asante Samuel Jr. 24, I think.
But Byron Murphy's like 26. Can play inside and outside.
Yeah. Takes the ball away. I mean, he's a good player, and he's ascending
And really, to me, he would be the perfect fit because I can play him in the slot. If I want to get Corey Trice playing time, I can on passing downs. I can bring Trice in, let him play on the outside, bump Murphy into the slot. I've made 2 spots, potentially better.
Or if the Iowa State dude Porter is there in the second round, and you love him.
I can still take him.
Or Ezra Thomas, or one of those dudes, you could still take him and figure it out from there.
Yeah.
Now Murphy might be my favorite. Murphy and Reed are my 2 favorites.
Malcolm Kuntz, the edge rusher from the Raiders, no. Cam Robinson, the Vikings offensive tackle, no.
Him and Dan Moore are going to make some money.
They're going to make some money.
They're starting left tackles.
And, folks, you should want that to happen.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Dre Greenlaw, the linebacker.
That's good news for James Daniels, too, all this guard movement, right? Greenlaw won't be a Steeler, obviously.
Justin Fields is number 22 on this list. Okay. Zach Bond has already resigned. Again, this came out
Happened yesterday,
on the 3rd. Aaron Jones.
I still think he's got a lot of juice in the tank, but I'm not going
into that.
I know
I'm
someone.
not interested. I keep hearing people throw around names. They need to sign J.K. Dobbins. I'm not interested in signing any free agent running back.
The only one I'm slightly interested in is Nick Chubb, and he'd have to be super
I'm not even
cheap
interested in that
because he's 2 years removed. If he's out there 10 days from now,
he's also 29.
Oh, I know. I mean, I'm not giving him much money. I mean,
I'm not giving him any money. But Aaron Jones, no. Carlton Davis with the Lions.
Jones should go to a contender though, and could help him.
Yeah,
I mean, if he's with Denver or whatever. Who was the last one?
Carlton Davis.
I'm interested in him too. Absolutely. Corner.
Yeah, another corner.
Yeah.
Center Drew Dahlman from the Falcons.
He's getting a lot of buzz because there's
he's
like
the best center available.
He's the only one.
And this draft sucks.
And it's terrible, yeah. There's 4 or 5 teams that really need a center. He's going to make some money. But he was, not the Steelers want him, but he was with Arthur Smith. He's a pure zone center. That's the kind of guy they would mind having.
Talanoa Hufanga with the safety with the 49ers, no. Will Fries, guard with the Colts.
He's going to make a lot of money too.
Guard Tevin Jenkins with the Bears. Well, he'll be moving on.
Yeah.
And that should tell you they went out and traded for 2 guys.
Yeah, it's amazing he's that high on the list.
Yeah. Asante Samuel Jr., who we mentioned.
Interesting.
I'm not as interested. His injury history.
Injury's bad.
That's one of the reasons why you're not re-signing Dante Jackson because of his injury history, and you just went through that.
He's 24 years old. He's had like 3 injuries.
Yeah,
right.
Like, give me at least one full season. At least one. That's
I wonder if he ends up signing a 1-year deal.
Nick Bolton, linebacker with the Chiefs.
No, he does well, but he won't be a Steeler.
Kevin Zeitler with the Lions.
I think he's going to make some money too on a contender.
And he's 34 years old.
That's the thing. 1-year deal, rent him.
I could see him being the chief.
Joe Tooney's replacement, something like that. Does he go to Baltimore again? Something like that.
Mike Hilton. No.
No, I'm not interested in Mike Hilton. That's a declining player that when he hits a wall, it's going to be smack. He's going to be bugging a windshield when he hits the wall.
DeAndre Hopkins, no.
It'd have to be a remarkably good deal. But, boy, he does not move well anymore.
James Daniels.
You want him to sign for big money.
Yeah.
Hope he's 100% healthy.
Somebody brought up again on the message board today on YouTube, why don't you just cut Sayamalu and re-sign James Daniels? They obviously feel Sayamalu is a better player. They've been it's been pretty obvious.
He's also the leader in the O-line room, and there's value with that kind of stuff too.
I mean, James Daniels, once he got hurt, was never around the facility again. Like that tells you.
Plus, I would never cut Sayamalu. I mean, if you've stumbled into a guard and somebody offers you a pick in training camp, that's a different story.
Sends a bad message.
Yeah.
Tyron Smith.
I think he could be a chief, or retire,
right. Or miss 10 games next year.
Oh yeah.
Marquise Brown.
He's gonna make some money, probably too much. He doesn't do it for me for the Steelers.
No,
too small.
Juwan Johnson.
Not for the Steelers.
No, they don't.
He's an interesting piece.
They don't need another tight end.
No, not a move guy, especially.
Darius Slayton.
Yes, but I forget what event we were with Jeremy Fowler, who said, don't be surprised.
That was at the Senior Bowl.
Was that Senior Bowl? Okay, yeah. I was saying, I don't remember sitting down with him, but it was at the Senior Bowl because I wasn't there. I think he's going to make more than you think, too.
Yeah.
The 3 of them I think are going to make a lot are Hollywood, Slayton, and believe it or not, Denami Brown.
I think Denami Brown's going to get paid.
I mean, I would call their agents, but I have a feeling they might outprice themselves.
Slayton's my favorite guy of that group.
Yes.
Baron Browning, the edge rusher for the Cardinals.
I'm a fan, but not for the Steelers.
Yeah. Levi Ozareke, the defensive lineman for the Lions.
Okay. I don't think so.
Yeah. Mekhi Becton.
I think he's going to make decent money,
He's going to get paid.
I mean, get a ring.
Deo Odeyingbo.
The edge dude?
The edge rusher for the Colts.
Yeah, it won't be a Steeler.
Keenan Allen.
I don't think.
I'm not interested in Keenan Allen.
No, I'm almost certain he wants to be on the West Coast as well. That's home. I think he could still be a move the chains, possession, big slot for you, but you don't have somebody like him. But,
I want something more explosive and younger.
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, if you were to sign him or Hopkins or any of the, even Diggs, who I like better than all those dudes, you're not done, I don't think, either.
Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
I
think we're aware of him.
Bobby Wagner at 46. Those two can't get away from each other.
Yeah. I wonder if he goes back to Washington.
Alaric Jackson.
He resigned.
Yeah. And Dan Moore at 48.
He's going to make money.
Najee Harris at 49.
You hope he makes money. I think he'll do well.
I think he'll.
Yeah.
It's not going to be, $8 million a year, but I bet he gets 6.
Yeah. I bet he asked for 11.
He's not going to get it.
Not going to get it.
Chase Young, no.
He'll make money, though.
He'll make money. Justin Reed.
Good player, but they don't need a safety.
Yeah. Azeez Ojulari, another edge rusher. DJ Hill. Would you be interested in DJ Hill?
BJ Hill?
DJ. Or I'm sorry, BJ.
Okay, because there's DJ Jones, too, who I like better than BJ Hill. They're both D tackles. I think you're kind of settling.
Yeah, I think so.
I would rather get better. Like, I don't know, you're improved. I mean, like, would he have been useful last year? Sure.
Calais Campbell.
I mean, if him and Cam Hayward's want to be old men friends and we want to sign a cheap deal, yeah, but again, I mean, very limited snaps. He can still play.
I
mean, he's got
the
a
old man
great
game.
career.
It gives you hope for Cam Hayward.
Oh, no doubt. They're both, Walter Payton Man of the Year,
Harrison Smith.
He's going to be Vikings.
DeMarcus Lawrence, Trayvon Moehrig, Morgan Moses.
None of those.
Ernest Jones, linebacker for the Seahawks. Brandon Scherf, the guard for the Jaguars. It's not a...
It's not a real deep group.
J.K. Dobbins, no. People who want J.K. Dobbins, I'm like...
He's going to make more than he did a year ago.
Are you a goldfish? Do you not remember? I loved the player when he was coming out of college, but the injury history is extensive.
I mean, he signed like a league minimum deal with the Chargers last year. I mean, he's going to make more than that. That's why I brought up Chubb. If you can get him at like a league minimum $2 or $3 million deal, sure. And I'm still drafting one.
Dante Fowler, Patrick McCarry, Chauncey Golston, the edge rusher for the Cowboys, Jamie Sherwood, linebacker for the Jets.
He's a good player that people don't know, but they don't need a linebacker.
Stephon Gilmore at this point is
I'm
not interested.
That's Patrick Peterson 2.0.
Levante David's the same thing. Justin Simmons the same thing. Jedrick Wills.
No.
Yeah, somebody's going to give him money. There's enough
if he was sitting, he'd have to be
teams.
Sitting out there for, his tape is bad.
Yeah.
But I do like former first-round pedigrees, guys that get ignored. If 10 days into free agency he's still out there and wants a discount,
I'm just going to hit on the positions of need here just from this point on. Jonathan Jones with the Patriots.
He's a little older than I thought, too.
Yeah.
I clicked on him today thinking he was 27 or 28. I think he's 30 or 31.
Yeah, he's a little older.
I would aim bigger. That's Adebo's a corner we haven't brought up that I like a lot.
Jerron Reed, defensive tackle from the Seahawks.
He's another one of those old man games.
Yeah.
I mean, he's okay. He's not – it'd be more nosy. Again, late in the process, if he wants a 1-year, $5 million deal, you'd use him. I mean, he'd be useful against the Ravens.
Puna Ford.
He should be way higher on that list.
He should be. He's a good player.
He's so disruptive.
He gets pushed down because he's not ideal size. I don't care. He just makes plays.
I know. I'd rather go after like Hargrave.
Right.
He's not going to be on that list.
He's not on the list yet because he's going to get released Wednesday. But
I don't know that Ford fits here, but his tape is good.
Yeah.
He's like 5'10".
He played and they played almost. It's not the same defense, but they play a similar style of defense with the Chargers. And
No, he
couldn't run against the Chargers last year.
No, he really played well.
Yeah. Gesicki, no. Deontay Johnson, no.
I wonder what kind of interest he ends up getting when it's all said and done. I'm sure it'll be a 1-year deal, but
Tershawn Wharton with the Chiefs.
Again, I'd like to aim higher.
Be a rotational piece.
Yeah, I mentioned DJ Jones with the Broncos. That him and Hargrave are the two veterans I'd have the most interest in.
But Wharton played 60% of the snaps this year for the Chiefs.
Oh, yeah, he's a starter.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a good player.
Tierra Tart with the Chargers.
He's kind of hard to count.
Rotational player.
Yeah.
Famous Jameis. No.
Oh, Winston. No.
Yeah. Nate Hobbs. We've talked about him a lot.
Yeah. Bigger slot corner. He's had time. I mean, he's had some moments.
Paulson Adebo.
I'm a fan. Yeah.
You like him. I don't like him as much.
Yeah. He's coming off a broken leg, I think, a femur or something.
He gets thrown at like the receiver is wide open.
He gets thrown at a fair amount, but he makes a lot of plays on the ball, too.
Well, when you get thrown at that much, you're going to make plays eventually.
He was pretty good before he got hurt. I'm a fan.
I don't necessarily see it. Let's see. Bobby Spillane on that lister. Nick Chubb down at 89.
Yeah. I mean, that's where I pay him. And he might do better than that.
Yeah. He might not.
Mm-hmm.
Might be shot. Yeah, that's pretty much. Well, DJ Jones is there.
How old is he? 30?
Maybe
a little older.
Yeah, a little bit older than that, maybe. I'm not super interested in old guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like
old D linemen don't super excite me.
No, like when the Eagles moved on from cornerback yesterday,
Slay and Bradbury.
Slay.
Yeah.
Darius Slay's 34 years old. I'm not interested in 34-year-old Darius Slay.
No.
I'd be interested in 24-year-old Darius Slay.
Yeah.
I'd be interested in 28-year-old Darius Slay.
You got enough money, you don't have to settle for those guys.
You don't settle for that.
Right.
Like you had to
I mean,
do
like
it
if you had to sign
Peterson.
Slay, if you went after 5 of those other ones, got shut out on all, settled for Slay, you still might use a first-round pick on a corner.
Right. That doesn't solve your need. Right. You don't know. He may not still be able to play.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you did that with Patrick Peterson because you had to because you didn't have the cap space.
And so you have better cards.
You tried to sign Patrick Peterson the first time he was a free agent. A few years before that, when
it would have been a little pricier too.
It would have been a lot pricier. Yeah, you're going to get a discount on Darius Slay at this point, but do you want him?
Right. It doesn't mean he's the answer.
No,
it might be a value.
Yeah. Mike Williams.
I would consider it.
Yeah,
but it'd be late in the process, especially if I'm moving on from Pickens. I mean, give me a big downfield guy.
And the last guy, well, a couple guys here. Christian Fulton, the cornerback with the Chargers.
Be a consolation prize. Yeah. I mean, Fulton and a second-round pick would be good at corner. You know?
Josh Palmer, wide receiver.
I'm glad you brought him up.
I like Josh Palmer.
I do
I've always liked Josh Palmer.
He's physical. He's not the answer.
But when he.
But I'd rather him than Van Jefferson. You know,
when he's been given the opportunity, when they didn't have Keenan Allen, when Keenan Allen and Mike Williams were out.
Yeah.
Josh Palmer had good games.
He had good games, and he could play slot. He could play outside. I don't think it'd be real expensive. I don't dislike it.
I think he's. I mean, would he be your automatic number 2? No. But
if you ended up with the guys you have now, Josh Palmer and Matthew Golden, now you got to stay.
Now you got a wide receiver.
Yeah. And use them situationally different than you would Austin or Wilson.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's get to a break. He is the Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive.
That doesn't mention all the cut dudes who are more attractive. Right.
They're going to be more.
Devontae Adams and Cooper Kupp.
Some of them are on this list.
Yeah.
But they haven't been cut yet. That's the thing.
That's the thing. Right. Just like Christian Kirk.
Let's get to a break. He's Matt Williamson. I'm Dale Lolley. This is The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network. And we are back. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson.
High Cobb over here, mixing it up on the baseball diamond. Don't go spiking Lolley, I'll tell you that.
No. I do not. I did not.
Didn't respond well to the spikage, obviously.
I played sports with a little bit of an edge. Just a bit. Anyways, so Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah.
Now seeking a trade. Myles Garrett wants to be traded.
This is the offseason of permission to seek a trade.
Yes, permission, sir, to seek a trade.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I'm Dan Moore, I'm getting out of the AFC North.
Oh, yeah.
With all these top edge rushers. Right. And then all of a sudden, all these guys, all these clowns want to get out of the AFC North, too. What's going on with this?
It reminds me of like when the Steelers got Fields, and then they're like, well, we're going to go pick up DJ Moore. I mean, all the stuff the Bears got. And then Arthur Smith comes here and like, we're going to get Kirk Cousins and Penix in Atlanta. Like, thanks a lot. I had Mariota and Ritter. I mean, that's great. Matt Ryan was a shell of himself. Right. No, it's a good point by Moore, though. Like, boy, a lot of the pass rushers in the division could be on their way out.
Yeah. I used to thinking, I'm going to get away from these guys.
They may all go to the same division
again.
Right,
He's
right.
like, come on, man.
I do think Hendrickson gets traded.
I do, too.
I actually think Garrett does, too.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Because I think if Garrett doesn't get traded, I think he starts sitting out games.
I don't think he plays again for the Browns. I think he's that determined in his ways. I mean, I think his personality is that way. I've made my mind up. I'm not playing for the Browns again. Either you can get draft picks for me or I won't play.
The Cleveland, it's like cleveland.com or whatever it is, whatever their newspaper site is. One of their writers put out a story, Mary Kay Cabot, I'll just say it. It's out there. She put it out there. Does Joel Bitonio announcing he's not retiring convince Myles Garrett to return to the Browns? I'm like, oh, yeah, I could see Myles Garrett going, well, I mean, if Joel's back,
right,
why not me?
He's had a really good career, but even if he were John Herna and Larry Allen rolled into one, he's a guard on a bad team. Right.
Joe Thomas could announce he's not retiring as well. I'm going to unretire. That wouldn't affect Myles Garrett one iota.
No, and it shouldn't. I mean, that's not going to move the needle in terms of contender.
It still doesn't give him a
not.
quarterback.
Right.
Or defensive help or other.
Again, I think they're going to get Kirk Cousins and bring back the Bitonios and we're in this thing.
Kirk Cousins behind that offensive line might as well wear a target.
Right. And at least some of the pass rushers are leaving the division. Not from the Pittsburgh, though.
Not from the Steelers.
Not from the Steelers.
Not at all. Anyways, that's going to do it for hour number one. We went long on the last segment.
Yeah, we went through a bunch of free agents.
Let's get to another break. We'll be back with hour number two. He's Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. And welcome back. I am Dale Lolley here with Matt. I'm answering a question on Twitter here. I just saw this. Mike5678 said, I read a guess/report that the Steelers may be releasing Roman Wilson. What have you heard? Well, not that.
That makes no sense at all.
That would make no sense whatsoever. Why would they even consider that?
No.
It's dumb.
I mean, it's a third-round pick. He makes no money. He's young. The only way that anything like that even happens, and I'm not suggesting this is the case, but I mean, across the league, is if somebody does something stupid off the field.
That might be the most ridiculous thing I've seen or heard anywhere.
Right. I mean, if somebody offered you a trade for the guy, I'd believe that. But I mean, he's going to be in camp.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So it's time mock draft time here to kick off hour number two. And we're going to use the Pro Football Network
good
drafter today.
Right.
Give it a little different look to see where the rankings and all that stuff falls in. A little different feel to it. So the first 20 picks are in.
What do we got on the roster already? Not Christian Kirk.
But let's say we got Darius Slayton. Signed Darius Slayton.
That's fine. It's Slayton, Murphy, and Fields.
There you go.
Okay.
All right. That's good.
I really think that's where it's going to be a week or two from now. Something like that.
Okay. So we have 3 trade offers.
Okay.
The Lions are on the phone. They want to give us pick 28 and 60 for 21 and 163.
It's a nice jumping off point.
The Vikings are on the phone. They want to give us 24.
They don't have any second or thirds.
And their 2026 second rounder for pick 21.
Fair. If there's 3 guys there, I would be happy with that.
Tampa Bay is on the phone. They want to give us pick 26 and pick 84 for pick 21.
Okay. And we could squeeze a little more out of the Lions or Bucks.
That's the one I'm most interested in.
Yes, I am too.
But I'm going to take a look here at who's available. Derek Harmon, Nick Emuwari, Jihad Campbell, Jahdae Barron, Josh Simmons, Colston Loveland, Nick Scourton, Emeka Egbika, Luther Burden, Tyleek Williams, Walter Nolan, Cameron Williams, offensive tackle out of Texas. They're high on him. Higher than I am.
Not.
Donovan Ezereku, Gray Zabel, Kenneth Grant.
Wow.
I say you trade back.
Yeah. Would you be comfortable with Barron even if you took Murphy?
Yeah.
I would be, especially in a trade back because you got extra picks.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd just be done. On your back seven's done.
I don't even think you make any counter offers. I think you take Tampa Bay offer.
I'm fine with that. Move back 5 spots.
Pick up an extra third rounder?
Yeah.
You kidding me?
That's fine with me.
Yeah. I am going to dump that extra 7th round pick, but everybody seems to have. I don't know where they're
really exist. Yeah.
I think ESPN dreamed this thing into existence, and everybody's just following suit. They have 2 7th round picks, not 3.
Yeah,
2.
Yeah.
So I'm going to add that one in there. I'm going to propose that they're going to accept it, and boom, we're moving on.
Yep, they offered us a deal, and we offered them a better one back.
Yeah. Well, now the Ravens are on the phone.
Okay. We don't do business with them.
I know, but they're offering 27 and 91 for 26. They want to give us a third-round pick to move up one spot.
Unless there's only one good guy there, we'll take it.
Yeah. Seattle wants 52-82 and their next year's second for 26. No.
Nah.
And the Jets want us to also trade out of the first round. No. I'm going to reject them all.
Including the Ravens?
I think so.
I mean, that's a little unrealistic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, let's reject. Okay, so Derek Harmon, still there. Jihad Campbell, Josh Simmons, Egbika, Luther Burden, Tyleek Williams, Walter Nolan, Cameron Williams, Gray Zabel, Kenneth Grant.
Grant.
Yeah, I think you take Kenneth. We've
Grant. Yeah.
Kenneth Grant all day long.
I'd do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. And we picked up a third-round pick.
Yeah, in a heartbeat.
All right. We're down to 52 now. We have a trade offer from the Raiders. They want to give us 68, 107, and next year's fourth-round pick.
Could be low. For
52 and 247. But we're moving back 16 spots.
Yeah, it's a lot. I'd like to know what's there, of course, but
well, I can
that's
tell
a pretty good haul.
Omarion Hampton.
Ooh.
Trey Harris. Jackson Dart. Trey Amos. Wyatt Millum, who was a visitor to the Steelers today. Mm-hmm. Landon Jackson. I am rejecting this. We're going to take Dion Walker, Caleb Johnson, JT Tuamaloa, Maxwell Hairston.
I'd take Hampton.
You take Omarion Hampton there.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, and give him the ball a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Good start.
Kenneth Grant, Omarion Hampton.
Yeah.
Welcome to the club.
I like it.
The Eagles are on the phone now. We are up at pick 83. The Eagles are offering us 96 and 129 for 83.
That's fair.
It's a fair offer.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a look at what's available. Alfred Collins.
We just took a nose, though.
We just took a nose.
Yeah, I mean.
Barrett Carter. Carson Schlesinger, the linebacker out of UCLA. Chris Paul, the linebacker out of Ole Miss. Omar Norman Lott, defensive tackle out of Tennessee. Jared Ivey, edge rusher out of Ole Miss. Shamar Turner out of Texas A&M, defensive lineman. Ashton Gillette, edge rusher out of Louisville. Josiah Stewart, the edge rusher out of Michigan. Holland Pierce, the offensive tackle out of Rutgers.
Can you sort by quarterbacks for me? You might know where I'm going with this.
Quinn Ewers, Will Howard, Dylan Gabriel, Tyler Shuck, who visited the Steelers today.
I would take him in a heartbeat here.
Okay.
In a heartbeat.
Tyler Shuck it is.
I'm also a little more interested in Milroe than I was a week or two ago, especially if he signed Fields. Not this early, but I mean, third or fourth round.
I'd still take Shuck.
Oh, I'd take Shuck over him times 1,000.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about in general. If Fields is your quarterback, I would consider Milroe third round or later. I would take Shuck in the second round, no matter what, and maybe earlier.
Okay, so we have back-to-back picks here, 83 and 84.
Isn't that fun?
We got another trade offer.
Okay.
Detroit
I'd
wants
like to help at receiver position here pretty soon, too, though.
Detroit wants to offer us 101, 133, and a 2026 fifth-round pick for 84 and 225.
Seems like a long way to go, but
I'm going to reject.
Okay.
All right, so at wide receiver.
Seems like one of these two should be a wideout.
Savion Williams.
Yeah.
I don't love him.
I don't love him either, but I'm kind of shocked he's still there.
Jack Betch.
Oh, that's way better.
Ty Felton, Rondé Gadsden, Ricky White, Pat Bryant, Caden Prather, Nick Nash, Theo Weiss, Kobe Hudson.
Take Betch.
I think you take Betch.
Yeah,
just take him.
Yeah.
Take the gift.
Yeah. And now maybe best available or whatever.
Just to take a look here, let's look at cornerback. Dorian Strong is still there.
I like Strong.
Zy Alexander, Kobe Bryant out of Kansas, Jordan Hancock out of Ohio State, Quincy Riley out of Louisville, Jacob Parrish, Mello Dotson out of K-State and Kansas.
You convinced me on about three of those dudes. Parrish.
Yeah. But the wide receiver pool.
Oh, you take Betch.
Take Betch.
I thought you were talking about this next pick, this back-to-back one.
Yeah, you just take Betch.
Yeah. I thought we already did that.
Tough guy.
Oh, he's a lot different than Slayton, too.
Yeah. All right, now we're up at 122.
Okay.
The Rams are on the phone offering us 126 and 192 for 122 and 247.
How many picks do we have, though? And we've already traded down.
The same amount.
Well, we got rid of the 7.
We threw in that 7 that we don't really own,
anyway,
so we have 7 picks.
Okay. I just don't think we have that many needs. I mean,
that's a great thing.
I get it, right. I don't know what's available. Who's out there? Another D lineman wouldn't break my heart.
Wouldn't break my heart at all.
No.
Especially we could use an end.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Pat Bryant,
I don't want another nose, but
I'm just looking at wide receivers here. I can look at all.
Okay. Offensive tackle wouldn't break my heart.
Elijah Araujo, the tight end out of Miami.
That's a weapon. That's if you have extra picks. Yeah, I mean,
Josh Farmer.
Could you do two noses? I mean, they do more than that. They just don't sit there on 1st and 10 and come off field all the time. He's a good player.
Yeah.
I think Grant can do more than just play nose, too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he could line up as a 5 technique.
Billy Bowman, the safety out of Oklahoma. Jordan Hancock, the cornerback out of Ohio State. Jalen Reed, Penn State tight end, or safety, I should say. Darius Alexander is still there.
Shouldn't be.
They're a little lower on Darius Alexander.
I feel like that's cheating.
Howard Cross, defensive tackle out of Notre Dame. Ollie Gordon, Jordan Phillips, another nose.
I'm a fan. But
Chase Lunt, the offensive tackle out of UConn.
Wouldn't be bad.
Pat Bryant, wide receiver out of Illinois. Phil Maffa, running back out of Clemson. Danny Stutzman, Demetrius Knight, they're both linebackers. Dylan Gabriel. Charles Grant, offensive tackle out of William & Mary.
We already have a Charles Grant, too. I mean, you know how happy that makes me.
Yeah, 2 Charles Grants.
But I think he's the perfect guy to take her in this neighborhood, too. You don't need him at all this year.
Yeah, Mello Dotson still there. C.J. West still there. Trey Wettig, the offensive tackle out of Indiana.
We did this yesterday, but, I mean, there's really good noses still on the board.
J.J. Pegas is still there. He was another visitor today for the Steelers. Riley Mills still there.
I would take Charles Grant part 2.
I think I would, too.
I think Darius Alexander's cheating.
Probably.
But those noses, I think, will be there.
We don't make the rules, though. We don't set
I get it.
We don't set the board. We don't make the picks.
Right.
We just make the picks for the Steelers and what's there. All right. Offensive
Project tackle that could be a starter someday.
Charles Grant, it is. At worst, he's a guard.
Yeah, or somebody moves around or whatever, right. Figure it out. Tackles don't grow on trees.
Especially, I mean, he's kind of an outlier in this year's crop with the arm length and the
right.
And that kind
he's
of stuff.
A tackle.
Yeah. Okay, we're up at 163, and Dallas is on the phone offering us 170 and 211 for 163 and 247.
Hard to kind of comment on it, not knowing there, but I mean, it's not a bad offer.
I actually kind of like it.
Yeah. What was it again?
170 and 211 for 163 and 247.
It makes for better radio, so you don't have to make that late pick. You know what I mean?
I'm going to accept it.
Do it.
Yeah. All right. We are up now at 170, and top players available are Kyle McGonigal, running back out of Rutgers; Seth McLaughlin, the center out of Ohio State; Elijah Roberts, defensive tackle from SMU; Jonah Monahan, center from USC; Kyle McCord still there; Jack Kaiser, linebacker from Notre Dame; Brashard Smith, running back out of SMU.
He's different.
He can be a kick returner.
He'd be a returner and weapon.
As is Dylan Sampson.
Ooh, I'd like that better.
Aeneas Peebles,
okay,
defensive tackle out of Virginia Tech. Ty Robinson, the defensive tackle out of Nebraska.
I think you take him.
I think you do too. I think he's.
I mean, I don't think that's crazy. He's still there. I mean,
no, I don't think so either. But I think there's a lot. I think there's some upside there with him.
Yeah. I mean, folks, he's not the next Cam Hayward, but he would be a very useful, cheaper, better Lowry to me.
Yeah,
he's
active.
Yeah. Tested really well.
All right, Ty Robinson it is.
That's
now,
somebody I'd start considering.
Our 2 defensive linemen,
Yeah. Very different type of dudes.
Has the length that you want at the position and the activity. I can't get past the activity. Like, he runs to everything.
Yeah. Again, in the 3rd round, I would strongly start considering him.
All right, we're up at 211. We also have 225 remaining. Nobody calling us on the phone to offer us anything for this pick.
Okay. Have we taken a defensive back?
We have not.
Yeah.
Jamon Dumas-Johnson, linebacker out of Kentucky. Jay Higgins, linebacker out of Iowa. Carson Vinson, the offensive tackle out of Alabama A&M. Zaw Frazier, cornerback out of UTSA.
I know we did it, but I wouldn't mind taking Vinson, too. 2 small school tackles. I know that's crazy talk, but who was the last one who said he was somebody good, too?
Zaw Frazier out of UTSA, the cornerback.
Yeah.
Got size, speed.
That's worth the risk, too.
Kobe King, the linebacker at Penn State. Kobe Hudson, out of UCF, the wide receiver. Jalen Conyers, tight end out of Texas Tech. Maxon Hook, safety out of Toledo. Jacob Gideon, a center out of Western Michigan. Jaquavius Marks, running back out of USC.
Let's take the corner.
Yeah.
Corner with traits.
Corner with traits this late? Why not?
Kind of like a Trice double down, you know?
Absolutely. And we're up now with our last pick, and a lot of the same guys. Jalen Conyers, Jacob Gideon. Dante Trader is an interesting guy at this spot for me, the safety out of Maryland.
Mm-hmm. I think he's slot capable.
He is slot capable.
I'm 100% sure of that, but right.
He doesn't miss tackles.
Yeah. Special teams galore.
He's a fluid athlete.
I mean, they don't really have a third safety locked up.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a big Watts fan and excited about him, but this guy could make the team and be active on week 1.
I will say, so like Trevor Etienne is still available as well.
Appealing. I think I'd go the safety.
Just looking here to see what else is there.
And then you get on the phone heavy late in the draft.
Some of these guys are going
undrafted free agent backs.
Bring another back. And
I mean, we have Hampton. I mean, Hampton's pretty darn good.
He's going to be your every down back.
Right, yeah.
He's going to share time with.
I mean, I think Hampton's going to be a Pro Bowl running back.
Yeah.
Wherever he lands.
All right. Dante Trader, it is.
Okay. Help special. Danny Smith said thanks.
And he might be your big nickel.
You might be. Right.
Although we signed a guy who can play nickel as well.
Mm-hmm. We took 2 defensive backs. Murphy's going to fit in somewhere. That's the beauty of Murphy.
All right. So we traded down in the first round and took Kenneth Grant at 26. I don't know how realistic that is, but
I don't know. I mean, again, if people look at him as nose only, he could fall.
He didn't work out at the combine.
Right. I mean, I don't think that's insane. But if you told me that they could do that right now, I'd say sign me up.
I would have taken him at 21.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
That was my favorite guy there.
Omarion Hampton at 52.
I don't think that's realistic.
Tyler Shuck at 83.
I don't think that's realistic.
I think it is.
I don't.
How many quarterback needy teams are there? 6.
For an instant starter.
Instant starter. Okay. They're going to fill those spots.
Oh, yeah.
How many teams beyond that are then going to be looking to take a quarterback in the 3rd round?
Whoever fills their spot with Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson should be right up the...
They should, but if they're signing Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson...
Then use a 2nd-round pick.
They're in it to win it.
Or that's all they could get. I mean, the Jets or the Raiders.
They're in to win this year. Right. And therefore, they're not going to necessarily use a pick on a quarterback this year. They're going to wait till next year.
No, I don't know about that. I mean, I'm talking about a day 2 guy. I'm not saying they'll use a 1st-round pick on him.
I'm not saying you use one of the 2nd-round pick on him.
I don't know. I don't think Shuck gets out of the 2nd round.
Jack Betch at 84.
That I love.
Charles Grant.
I love all of it, but
yeah, Charles Grant at 122.
I like the project there. Talk about him a year from now.
Ty Robinson at 170, the defensive tackle out of Nebraska. Zaw Frazier, the cornerback out of UTSA at 211.
Mm-hmm.
And Dante Trader at 225, the safety out of Maryland.
Sign me up for that one. I would take that in a heartbeat.
That was 8 picks that we made.
Okay. Yeah, I would take
Charles Grant's kind of the bonus pick there.
Charles Grant, number 2.
Charles Grant, number 2.
Right.
Kenneth Grant's the other one.
Aren't they both Kenneth Grant?
They're both Grants.
I thought they had the exact same
Kenneth
name.
Grant and Charles Grant.
Oh, I've been making that joke for a month, and no one's corrected me.
All right, Lou Grant.
I thought they had the exact same name.
Is there another Kenneth Grant? There's another Charles Grant in this draft.
The tackle from William and Mary.
Yeah.
And the Michigan nose tackle.
Yeah.
I thought they had the exact same name.
They do not, no.
Huh. Okay.
Williamson learns something new every day.
That's big.
Hey,
right.
It happens. You get so many names bouncing around your head.
I thought they both were Kenneth.
So I was over at the Steelers facility today, and I got the visitors.
Yeah.
And I put together the tweet for it, sent it out, let all the other Steeler reporters know, hey, here's the tweet. It's out there.
Mm-hmm.
Only one person goes down a day. That's me for like the next 2+ weeks.
Okay.
And instead of Tyler Shuck, I wrote Tanner Shuck. We've only talked about this guy for like the last 2 months.
I think you probably remember this because you edit my stuff. I wrote it Tanner Shuck in my quarterback ranks.
I don't know if I corrected it.
I think you did. Or I might have at the very end. Because originally I'm like, this is my favorite guy in the whole draft, and I got his first name wrong. And I misspell his last name from time to time, too. I always have to double check.
You also misspell wide receivers all the time.
I
did that again the other day.
How did that happen, though? Because I never get the red squiggly line.
Maybe your computer's broken because I caught it again.
Because I know
our receiver rankings drop tomorrow.
Yeah.
To pull back the curtain. And I was editing it. I said to my wife, Matt spelled receivers wrong again.
Because I misspell receivers and Chiefs wrong. The IE thing.
I before E, except after C.
But the red squiggly line doesn't show up. It does on Chiefs, but it doesn't on receivers.
Your fingers don't work the right way on that one.
Oh, I know they don't. But maybe I must have added to dictionary wrong or something. Because I'm like, why doesn't it show up?
There's one.
Because you've told me this, and I've even typed it in wrong on purpose, and the red squiggly line shows up.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you there, Chief, but you do it every time.
Oh, I must do it every time. If it goes through, I write it wrong 50% of the time.
Yeah.
Same with Chiefs. Yeah.
Some words. Personnel is one that I always.
Yeah, it's
2 N's, 1 L, and
right.
I'm like 1 L and 1 N.
But as you do, I write the word receivers a
lot
in my lifetime.
Yeah,
millions of times probably, and I get 50% batting average on it.
Not good.
No.
Yeah, but I like this draft.
Oh, that draft's a killer.
That draft. I would sign me up for that right now.
Oh, I would trade every pick for those picks right now.
Right now.
Yeah, easily. I mean, I think it's a little too good, to be honest with you.
Well, probably, but that's
those are the cards we were dealt.
Yeah. You just do what you do. You got to work with here, and that's what we had to work with. We could have actually done better than that.
This receiver thing's bothering
me. Anyways, let's get to a break. He is Matt, don't call him receiver, Williamson. I'm Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. And, of course, you can hear The Drive every Monday through Friday right here on these very airwaves. You can also download the Steelers mobile app.
Wish I had my laptop here right now.
And you can watch the show on YouTube. And, look, I would expect our YouTube numbers next week.
Oh, you're missing out.
Through the roof.
Right.
We went to comments. It's a good chance to interact. I get on there a lot and go back and forth with people, answer questions, do all that stuff. Matt doesn't because he would spell receiver wrong.
Right.
But
I get mad at all you people, too.
Anyways, let's get to a break. We'll be back with more right after this. Welcome back. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And Matt, the Daniel Jeremiah has updated his top 50.
Oh, did he? I didn't see that.
Coming out of the combine, lots of movement.
Really? Okay.
Lots of movement.
Okay.
Kind of gives you an idea of this draft.
How this draft is, right?
Like that. There's not a lot of movement at the top, but that middle part. And
I can see that sort of because there was a lot of ties.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to be too overreactive to the combine, but you can't help yourself in some ways too.
You got more information now.
Yeah, true.
So he still has Abdul Carter at number 1. He still has Travis Hunter at number 2. Still has Ashton Genty at 3.
I get that.
Mason Graham remains at 4, although I've seen some people sliding with him.
I don't love him.
I don't either, but
I'm not sure who my 4 would be. He's got short arms. He doesn't play the run that well. He's only 295. He's not a very good athlete. I mean, like, that's usually not the 4th best player in the draft.
But he has been productive.
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying he's bad at the game, but, you know.
Tyler Warren stays at 5.
I give him respect for that. I mean, Tyler Warren's a high-quality prospect.
Colston Loveland.
He's loved him every step of the way.
Moves up a spot to 6.
Who's a really good weapon, but I think it also kind of epitomizes that area of the draft's not as good as it usually is.
Jalen Walker moves down a spot to 7, and apparently he's not going to work out at this pro day now because he's got an injury. So.
Oh, really? Okay.
Jahdae Barron moves up to 8 a spot. Ran better than I think anybody expected him to.
I mean, he's not huge, but boy, he's a really good player too.
Will Campbell bumps down a spot to 9.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're a team like the Bears, I don't think you can take Will Campbell now.
No.
I mean,
you don't need to.
Right.
Cam Ward at 10.
like a tackle-only team, right.
Yeah. Cam Ward's at 10.
Okay.
Armand Membo moves up 7 spots to 11.
I think he'd be my number 1 offensive lineman.
He's a right tackle only, though.
He's so quick and powerful and low. I think he might be a great guard.
If you're going to bang Campbell for having short arms, Membo's arms are shorter.
I know. I think Membo's a better, more explosive athlete.
I think they're both really athletic.
Mm-hmm.
And Campbell's a little taller. I think he can maybe stick on the left side.
Maybe.
12 is
It's weird that those are your guys you're talking about as the best lit linemen.
Well, that's a thing, yeah.
Right. I mean, I take Fautano over both of them.
Without a doubt.
Yeah,
I take Broderick Jones over both of them.
Yeah.
12 is Jihad Campbell.
Okay.
13, down 2 spots, Will Johnson.
I'd like to know what he runs.
Yeah.
But, I mean, would you take him or Barron? I think I'd take Johnson. And I really like Barron.
Yeah.
Johnson was a superstar in their national title.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. Kind of reminds me like Stingley.
You might get a great bargain on him.
Right,
yeah.
right.
14, up 5 spots, Omarion Hampton.
I know. He's definitely going in the first round. There's so much buzz around these. All those dudes are saying Hampton's closer to Genty than he is the number 3 guy. I don't know if I believe that, but I think he's going in the first round.
15, up 7 spots, Matthew Golden.
As much as I like him, he doesn't play like Xavier Worthy. You know, like he's fast on film, but he's not like, oh my God, that's the fastest guy in the. But
there's a little bit of there's a little bit of Justin Jefferson here. Yeah, and that everybody thought Justin Jefferson, he's going to be a 4.45, 4.5 guy somewhere in that range because you didn't see it in college.
Yeah. Nobody he has it.
Nobody runs him down now in the pros. Like all of a sudden he goes out and he runs a 4.3 something, and everybody goes, oh, he's fast.
Yeah.
Matthew Golden's fast. I really struggled with Matthew. We did our rankings for tomorrow. They're going to drop. I'm like, and this was before he ran. So I like Matthew Golden better or Tet McMillan better.
So I remember having the conversation. I like Golden better than Igbuka. And I think we both agreed that. To me, that's not even
close.
Yeah, pre-Combine, I thought it was a semi-conversation, but I definitely preferred Golden. Post-Combine, my last, you edited it, I guess, but my last sentence of Golden was he's nipping on T-Mac's heels to be number 1. Yeah. I had him at 2, but I went back and forth.
I ended up putting him at 2 as well, but it's close.
And it was size.
Yeah, it's close.
Right.
Tet McMillan moves down 2 spots to 16.
He has Golden
He has Golden now ahead of him.
I get
the tape's good.
Yeah. The tape's really good.
He has Ekuba at 17, now up 6 spots. I don't know what changed for him. He didn't
do anything.
Didn't do anything.
The guys around him fell a little bit, or he probably heard some stuff.
Yeah. 18, down 3 spots, Shedeur Sanders.
I think that's kind. I mean, if he's Ward was 10, so he's not bumping guys up on positional.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's just how
this is
good
where he
are
ranks
Genty's
him,
3. Hampton was high.
Yeah.
I don't think Sanders is one of the top 30 or 40 best players in this draft.
At 19, up 6 spots, Nick Emuwari.
We have to have a conversation about him, too, at some point. Would you consider him at 21?
I would not.
If free agency went crazy well, I might.
That's a different conversation. But
I mean,
if they add a cornerback, a wide receiver, no. I'm not, and a quarterback. No, I'm not. I think that's a piece. That's something you do if you're one player away, or you think your roster is set, and I don't know that this roster is set. I want to come out of this. Right. I got to come out of this with a defensive tackle who's a potential.
The thing is, you almost have to take a D tackle in round 2.
Yeah,
I mean, with a pick like that.
Yeah.
See, I was thinking more along the lines if you move from 21 to 26. And I got 3 day 2 picks, and I could take a special player.
Here's my problem with Emuwari.
And I would include Starks in that too.
Is Emuwari a safety? Is he a big nickel? Is he a linebacker? Because how many of these guys have we have to see come into the league that people don't know what position they play? They come into the league, and for 5 years,
I don't think he's Isaiah Simmons.
They don't hit.
Who was none of the above.
Yeah.
To your point. I think he's my big slot now, or my slot, period, the day I draft him, and then go from there.
Potential.
I'm not saying I'm jumping on him, but if a special talent falls in your lap, kind of like the Ravens did with the Notre Dame
Hamilton.
Safety. Right. It's like at some point you just say thanks.
At 20, down 4 spots, Michael Williams, the edge rusher out of Georgia.
I'm not blown away by him.
At 21, down 4 spots, Mike Green, the edge rusher out of Marshall. It's interesting.
More of these edge guys.
The edge guys are starting to bump.
Dude, either just went crazy.
At 22, down a spot, James Pierce.
Some of his stuff was great, but
I think he moved down because other guys moved up.
Maybe
there were some other guys that moved up several spots,
His
like
waist
Amari
is
and
like
Hampton.
This big.
He is so smooth, though.
He is. He looks like a small forward.
At 23, down 10 spots, Tyler Booker.
Real bad combine, but he's a big mashing guard. I don't care one bit about that.
I'm not interested in taking that in the first round.
I'm not either. The thing everyone raves about him, to his credit, is he's like a Will Anderson like type leader, like the Minka of the Bama team. There's something to be said for that, but the guys that mock him in like the top 12, I'm like, come on, man. I mean, he's just a big mashing guard.
He's not Alan Faneca.
And he's not a special player.
Yeah.
He's not Hutch. He's not Faneca. Right.
At 24, up 5 spots, Gray Zabel.
He might be the better player. Just in terms of certainly
better
movement.
athlete, yeah.
Right. Zabel's really impressive.
At 25, up 9 spots, Malachi Starks.
I'm a big believer in his, too. Like, people are like, he had a bad combine. I'm like, he had the highest miles per hour of anyone in the running. I mean, his 40s weren't great. He's super smooth out there, too.
26, holding steady, Derek Harmon.
Still on the fence if I would pull the trigger at 21 or not.
At 27, up a spot, Shamar Stewart.
I'm surprised he's not higher, but I give DJ credit for don't count the athleticism twice. You knew he was an athlete.
Yeah. At 28, down 8 spots, Kenneth Grant.
He didn't do anything to hurt himself, but other people did stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
At 29.
If I give him a 26, sign me up.
29 down 5. I'd take him at 21.
I would too.
29 down 5 spots, Kelvin Banks Jr.
I think that's fair.
He might be a guard.
He might be a guard too.
Yeah. At 30, holding steady, Donovan Ezereku. Edge rusher out of Boston College.
I think he could be in the first round to a good team, Bills or somebody like that.
At 31, up 2 spots, Luther Burden III.
I think I have him ahead of Ekuba.
I do too.
Okay. Do we have the same top 4? We must then. T-Mac, Golden, Burden, Ekuba.
We had different 5, though.
I had a tough time. I didn't know who my 5 was going to be.
At 32, up 11 spots, Maxwell Hairston.
I guess you didn't put Hunter in there either.
I did not.
I'm not going to put him in my corners either.
I'll put him in my corners
really?
because I think that's what his primary position is.
I do too, but I just thought it gives an opportunity to write 4 or 5
more
corners up.
Yeah.
Who's the last guy you mentioned?
Maxwell Hairston.
I could see him going in the first round too.
Yeah.
After that combine.
At 33, up 2 spots, Travion Henderson, the Ohio State running back.
I don't think it's crazy for him to go in the first round. If the Chiefs could somehow get their O-line somewhat serviceable and you use the 31st pick on that guy. Whoa.
At 34, down 7 spots, Walter Nolan.
I think he's hearing things off the field.
Yeah.
That's just the rumblings I'm
here's
getting.
the thing, too. Again, with this draft, once you get past, to me, that top 10, you could throw a blanket over the next 50 guys.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be, what do you need?
What do you need? Right,
They're all going to be ranked pretty closely. I know
sure.
you have to put a number on them in rankings, but the grades are all going to be similar.
Yeah, I could see that. Even the top 10. I mean, 7, 8, 9. I'm not.
Yeah. 35 down 4 spots is Josh Simmons, the offensive tackle out of
He's the one I think could go through the roof still.
36 up a spot, Quinshon Junkins.
Wow.
The Ohio State running back.
I'm highly interested in the second round on him.
Yeah, I don't think he makes it that far.
I don't either.
At 37, down a spot, is Mason Taylor, the tight end out of LSU.
I'm a big fan. Big fan. I think he's been a really good player.
38, up 2 spots, is Josh Connerly, the offensive tackle out of Oregon.
I know this isn't where he's predicting they go, but he'll go. He's not going to get past the Chiefs at the end of the round.
He's going to get drafted in the first round.
If they lose Stanley, he's not going to get past the Ravens.
39, down 7 spots, Donovan Jackson, the Ohio State offensive lineman.
Mm-hmm. Okay. He screams early second round to me.
40, up 2 spots, is Jackson Dart.
Any chance he goes in the first round? I think there's a chance he goes in the first round. I think he's more the Levis early second team trades up that gets shut out type guy.
Yeah, I could see Cleveland passing on a quarterback and taking him at the top
Giants
of the second
can't get the one, or Jets move up, or,
At 41, he was unrated before, Trey Amos, cornerback out of Mississippi.
I think I like both the Mississippi dudes, him and Harris, the receiver. We've been giving those guys a whole lot of talk over the month or so, but both would be decent Steelers.
At 42, down 4 spots, Azirie Thomas, the cornerback out of Florida State.
Okay, he ran well. I don't know why he's down, but that's okay.
At 43, down 2 spots, Josh Farmer, Florida State defensive.
I forgot he had him in the top 50.
Yeah.
I think that's deserved.
At 44, holding steady, Benjamin Morrison, the Notre Dame cornerback.
He's had 2 or 3 hip injuries for a corner.
Scary.
Yeah, I mean, that's a terrible spot for that position.
At 45, holding steady is Elijah Rojo, the Miami tight end.
Okay. I don't know if he'd be for everybody, though.
At 46, down 7 spots, Carson Swessinger, UCLA linebacker. 47, he was unrated before. Landon Jackson, the Arkansas edge rusher.
He had a really good – he was impressive.
He's super athletic.
Super athletic, yeah. I think he's an edge.
At 48, down a spot, Caleb Johnson, the Iowa running back.
Didn't have a great combine, but I didn't really expect him to.
I don't seem to like him as much as a lot of Steeler fans do.
I agree.
Like I can get I can get a big guy in this draft who can actually run.
He is a good zone runner. He has good vision.
I'm not saying he stinks or he's bad or anything like that, but if I'm going to move on from Najee Harris, I don't want a Najee Harris clone necessarily.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he is.
Yeah.
But athletically, I think they're similar.
And I wouldn't run to the podium in the second round. If that was your best option in the second round, I'd say okay. But
like if I had to make a choice between him and Travion Henderson,
I'm taking Henderson. Even if he isn't the big back, I would change what I want from the position.
Right.
Me too. I think he was in my top 5, but he was like a distant gap.
He didn't make my top 5.
Yeah, okay. The 2 Ohio State dudes.
He just missed, but he didn't make my top 5.
I think he was 5, but he was a distant 5th for me.
49 up a spot is Darius Alexander.
Okay. Like I think he's a better prospect than the running back, yeah.
And then 50 is, he was unranked before, that's Purdue offensive tackle Marcus Mbao.
Okay. I don't know if he's a tackle either, but maybe.
The guys who dropped out, Siobhan Ravel, the cornerback out of East Carolina.
I wonder if he's hearing bad medical stuff.
Well, he was at 46. Guys move up, other guys have to move out.
I think he's a miraculous talent.
Jack Sawyer, the edge rusher out of Ohio State, who was at 48.
I don't think he's good.
And Charles Grant, the offensive tackle out of William Mary, who he had at 49.
What's the Michigan tackle's first name? Are we sure they're not both Charles Grant?
Maybe that's where your ideas go. Kenneth.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just wrong from the beginning. Yeah, I'm just flat out wrong. Yeah, okay.
Okay, receivers.
Yeah.
When you put this video together, Tyler, make sure you spell Matt can't spell receivers right.
And spell receivers wrong when you do it. With a red squiggly line.
Anyways, that was DJ's new top 50. Some changes there.
A lot of changes, yeah.
Guys moving around based on, again, I think in this draft, once you get past that top 10-ish, they can go in any order.
I'd love to have some extra second-day picks.
We did our final mock draft last year for the triple take the day of the draft.
Yeah.
The last one that we did. And we
did pretty well.
We got 26 of the names correct.
Right.
Who went in the first round.
Would
have been 27 if you would have done the proper thing and taken Bo Nix.
Yeah, but I gave him Brock Bowers, who was phenomenal.
But then Bo Nix drops out of the first round, which he should.
Well, I think we're all to blame for that then. I mean, there were 20
no other
picks
pick for him. Who else was going to take him if he didn't go there?
Brock Bowers was not a bad pick for the
I'm
Broncos.
not saying Brock Bowers was that's not
pretty
what
good
I'm
rookie
saying.
Year, yeah.
I'm not saying Brock Bowers was a bad pick, but Bo Nix was somebody that I had mocked to Denver the entire process.
If you're going to be critical, call Pursuit up for taking Tony Franklin. Well, that was the worst pick in the first round.
Pick. Yeah, he went like pick 100.
Yeah. You and I wanted DeJean.
We would have had 27, though.
Yes. Agree.
That's better. That's like having 11 on your dial.
I get it.
This one's 11. This goes to 11.
And I will say, DeJean should have been in there, too. I mean, we were well aware.
We were not wrong on that.
Oh, no, we had him in the first round.
That's what I'm saying. We weren't wrong.
Right. Okay, that's why we missed
talent
on him, but we were smarter than the league on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, Bo Nix should have gone there, and then,
Right.
But the Falcons screwed everything up by taking a quarterback.
That's how it always goes.
Yeah.
Right.
So, anyways, that was DJ's top 50 3.0. Let's get to another break. He is the Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. We'll be back with more right after this. And welcome back. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And Matt, we haven't really talked about the DK Metcalf trade request. And apparently the Seahawks asking for a first-round pick and more.
They're not going to get it.
They're not going to get it.
No.
Nor would I be interested if I'm the Steelers in giving up a first-round pick and more.
No. I heard they were offered 2/3. I think that's about the going rate.
Yeah.
Maybe a second. Depending where that is. I think that's what because he's a contract too.
Right. If you're the Seahawks and you've already moved on from Tyler Lockett.
Right.
And you're also now considering moving on from DK Metcalf, does that signal that you're kind of rebuilding?
I think that's what he thinks and kind of wants out, and that's kind of the writing on the wall. And I always thought you could pry away Geno Smith if you wanted to.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, right.
Could Geno Smith become available?
I mean, I think they knew when they made these coaching hires and changes 1 year ago that this offseason was going to be really rough against the cap.
And last year might have bought, okay, you guys showed you can coach.
Yeah.
We'll get through this. And
yeah, I mean, I think they think they're rebuilding, minor step back, not Brown Saints level disaster, situation. They're kind of a weird team that way. I'm not exactly sure what they think they are. I mean, if so, should they draft a quarterback really high? Or, I mean, I think Geno's only got 1 year left on his deal. He's not young. There's nobody close to waiting in the wings. I mean, they can't convince me Howell's that guy.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, you keep hearing the Packers are interested in DK Metcalf, which makes all the sense in the world to me.
Right.
I mean,
well,
Watson's out. Watson's out for the year, it looks like.
For them, they would have to trade one of their young guys.
Yeah, I heard something like Dobbs in a 3 or something like that. But see, if I'm Seattle, I wouldn't mind a young player back.
Yeah. Because
receiver cabinet's pretty bare all of a sudden.
I'd want Jaden Reed, though.
I would too, but I wouldn't want to get rid of him. Right.
But you got to get your number one.
Right. I don't know who I'd rather. I mean, I might rather have Reed than Metcalf straight up for the price and age and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
I don't know you get much more sprinkled in. I don't know. I mean, I think Metcalf does get moved. I mean, that's been talked about for quite a while. Maybe it's a draft day trade. I mean, it sure seems like there's going to be a lot of receiver movement.
Yeah.
I mean, would you do it if you were like the Patriots?
You got to spend money somewhere.
Right? Where do you want?
But you're not going to give up your
I'm
first
not giving
pick.
up. I'm not even giving up the early second
pick.
Right.
Yeah.
I might give you a third and third next year.
Yeah.
Does Seattle say yes to that? I don't know. Seattle's just in a weird spot. I know that's kind of where you're going with this, and I don't know what they think they are because they're not terrible.
You could trade him Joe Milton too. Everybody seems to want him.
I'd make that part of the deal. Milton in a 3, sign me up if I were them. Yeah. What would you? I mean, do you see any fit with the Steelers? More so if it's Wilson than Fields.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say no if it's Fields.
I just don't know that you can have Metcalf and George Pickens on the same team. And it's not because
you don't necessarily have to.
Not because I think they're bad locker room guys, but they're both very volatile on the field.
They're also similar on the field.
They're very similar on the field, and you would be very dangerous on the outside.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you'd be a pain in the butt to play against.
You'd see a lot of cover 2 and a lot of 2 high safety, no question, and that would affect your running game. Like, I wouldn't turn my nose up at it. Would you do the second straight up today?
That's rich. I need to get a running back.
Right.
And
then you're getting in the third round land, and then you're not getting Junkins, or maybe you get Caleb Johnson, who we just said is okay. Like I didn't upgrade at running back if you're starting in the third round.
Yeah.
But you have DK Metcalf.
I
mean, I don't know if Pickens is on the trade block or not, but if I traded for DK Metcalf and I could turn Pickens into a 2+.
I don't think you're going to get a 2 for him, though.
Who do you think's worth more in the open market? I think Pickens is.
I think Metcalf is.
I don't think with a contract. But they're in the same neighborhood.
But you're going to have to pay Pickens.
Oh, I know. Right.
Which is
the new team.
Yeah, the new team is going to have to pay him. So, therefore, you might as well have traded the contract. At least if you're the team getting Metcalf, Seattle paid all the bonus money.
They paid the bonus, which is nice.
Yeah.
He's a little older.
He's also been more productive.
Right. You know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Right. Probably better in the locker room.
This is the thing with Pickens is like everybody else sees how he's been
the
on
issues.
The field. Yeah,
no question.
Everybody sees that. Everybody sees him with the eye black on. They see him throwing the ball, at opponents. They see him fighting guys constantly. You see that stuff.
Yeah.
And you don't know the guy at all. You don't.
I'd say you might just think
no
the worst.
relationship.
I mean, there might be times where, like, if you're on the sidelines, you might be like, I get where George is coming from. But if you're just watching from far, you might be like, no thanks.
The only team I could, like, if you're a team that has a guy that was at Georgia, which would be Todd Monken.
Yeah.
He knows the player, but you're not trading him to the Ravens.
No. I mean, every team in the league has a former teammate of Pickens, but that's not exactly your reference point.
Right.
Know? And frankly, you don't want to trade him to, like, the Chiefs or Bills.
No.
I mean, that's the teams I think would be
ideally you trade him out of the conference and say, okay, you deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, if I were gaining Metcalf, I would probably want to move Pickens and I would make money in the deal.
Which wouldn't even take you out of maybe adding another receiver still. So what are you doing?
Right.
You just gave up a second-round pick or whatever you gave up. You still need to draft a receiver because you're going to move Pickens away. Now you're going to get a pick back for Pickens, but
I was doing that under the assumption that I would get more for Pickens than I gave up for
I don't
Metcalf.
think you will.
I don't know. I'm not saying yes or no. I just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it only takes one team, but if teams are talking about giving up 2 picks for Metcalf, you're not getting 2 picks.
You don't think you get 2/3 out of Pickens?
No.
I mean, a future third and a this year third?
No.
I think
not in this with this draft, which I don't. And one
you
in
can't
which
get receivers.
I
in the
don't.
third round
I mean,
there's
like 8 receivers in this draft that I actually think I like, and the rest of them just like Whereas in previous years,
I think we're agreeing here. Okay.
In previous years, there's like 20. I'd be happy if I got him in the third round.
That's why a team, including the Steelers, might want to trade for a receiver as opposed to go fishing.
Now you're talking
round.
about trading for one and then giving one away, so you're back where you were.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't solve anything.
No, what if you ran with both of them?
Then you're going to get, I don't know, about a dozen unsportsmanlike penalties over the course of next year.
Or win more games.
You might, but you're going to get
right.
You're going to get a dozen unsportsmanlike penalties.
I pay my wide receiver coach and head coach and all these things. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think he's for me, to be honest with you. Metcalf here, but I would understand it.
Yeah, I think he ends up being a Raider.
Tyler just said Evan Ingram's getting released.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, they moved on from Kurt. It's such a Jag move. They sign these
guys and then cut them 2 years later.
They rent everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, even their draft picks.
Why a player would even want to sign there?
I know.
Well, it looks good.
Over and over.
3 years, $54 million? Well, you ain't seeing all $54 million of that.
No.
Ever.
Ingram's going to be sought after on the free agent market.
I mean, he'll
be.
He's going to scoop. Look at that free agent list a couple of days from now when they update it.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be a top 20 player.
I bet they like Strange, which I didn't understand why they took in the second
Everybody
round.
likes Strange.
Yeah, people are strange.
But, yeah, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, that's going to do it for today's show.
But there's just stuff happening all the time.
All the time, every 5 minutes. He's Matt Williamson. I'm Dale Lolley. We want to thank Justin Miller for running the Justin Miller hotline. We want to thank Tyler Vittmeyer for making sure our video gets out there onto YouTube. And we want to thank you for listening to this edition of The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network.
Steelers football happens here. The Pittsburgh Steelers Audio Network.